Hello and welcome back to the channel. As you can see in the title, this is my Stephen King tier list. These are 20 of Stephen King's books I've read over the last 3 years that I've started reading Stephen King. And yeah, I was going to do 19 because 19 is a special number in the Stephen King books, especially The Dark Tower. But I recently just finished Cujo today, actually, and just decided to hold off the tier list until I finish Cujo. So now we have a nice even 20. So yeah, I have the Stephen King tier list, and at the bottom here we have Misery, pretty self-explanatory. All the books that I couldn't get, or I did get through, but were Misery to get through, will go there. But just to state that this is not the worst books of all time, and this is not the best books of all time. These are just the worst of the 20 books I've read, and the best of the 20 books I've read, if that makes sense. And then A Needless Thing. I have not read Needful Things, but I thought that'd be a cool tier. A Great Mile, to referencing the Green Mile, and Not Overlooked, like the Overlook Hotel in The Shining. And Top of the Tower, the best of the books. I think the tiers are pretty self-explanatory. Now let's get into it. These are not in the order I read them. These are just in publication order. So yeah, the first book, we'll start where it all started. Stephen King's Carrie. A lot of these books I read a couple years ago, a year ago. So these might change in the future, especially when I read more Stephen King and realize that books might be better than I might think they are. But I think Carrie would probably be a Great Mile. I wouldn't say it's the best. I wouldn't say it's the worst. It was a fun, enjoyable short story. I think it's only like 200 pages, and it's told in a nice format with news kind of articles throughout the book. Just talking about how she's in the news and stuff. But yeah, I like the ending. It was a fun story. I mean, not fun, but like an enjoyable story. But yeah, I like that. Next is Salem's Lot. I read this and I really enjoyed it. It's a little long, but I did not get spoiled for anything, so I just went into this not knowing really what it was about. I just knew it was a Stephen King horror story, and I loved it because it's more enjoyable if you just go in without knowing anything. And I think it's a Not Overlooked. I might put this atop the tower, but right now I think it's a top of the tier of Not Overlooked. It's definitely not overlooked, and it's a really good story. The Shining. Funny enough, when I read Salem's Lot, which I read after The Shining, I thought it was better than The Shining. I just thought the first half of The Shining was really, really slow, personally. I thought the second half was amazing, but the first half I just found really like a slow burn kind of story. So I'll probably, now that I think about, these two are very different, and I enjoy both of them for many reasons. So I'll probably put The Shining right there. These both could probably be in Top of the Tower because they're just so good. But I'll move stuff around once I get everything on the board. Next is The Long Walk, the first Richard Bachman book I read. If you don't know, Richard Bachman was a pseudonym Stephen King wrote under. The Long Walk, I really enjoyed it, but this was one of the first 5. I think it was in the first 5 Stephen King books I read, and I really enjoyed it though. Now that I think about it, I think it'd be probably top of a Great Mile. I think it's better than Carrie. I think I enjoyed it more than Carrie. But it's a great story. Next is Firestarter. I read this just before the Zac Efron movie came out, the Firestarter movie. And just to say something quickly, that movie was really bad. I really did not like that. I quite liked it. It wouldn't be my favorite of all the Stephen King books, but it was decent. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I thought it would probably be probably better than Carrie, but probably top of a Great Mile. I'll just put it right here. Yeah, it's probably right here. Yeah, so next is Cujo. I finished this one today. Personally, the first half was not, I think many people can agree that the first half is a slow, I wouldn't say it's a slow burn, just a slow. But the character work in this is great. The second half is amazing, especially the last 100 pages I really enjoyed. So I'd probably put... Oh, that's harsh to put it there, but I'd probably put it right here, honestly. Starting a good bell curve. Next is The Gunslinger, the first Dark Tower book. I haven't read this in a year and a half, a year and 8 months. Read this in January of 2021, so I don't really remember it that well, but I remember really enjoying it. So I'm just gonna go by what I remember and put it there. Now that I think about it, I think a few of these could go up here, but I'll change those later. Next is Pet Sematary. I think it's pretty obvious. I'll put it not there, or not overlooked. Next to The Shining and Salem's Lot. Those books are amazing. And Pet Sematary is just an amazing story on grief. And even though I haven't really lost anyone major in my life, I just thought it was a great representation in how someone would feel if you lose someone like that. But yeah, it didn't really hit me that hard since I haven't really lost anyone. But if I read in the future, I'd probably hit me harder. So next is Misery, a great kind of secluded story, winter story. I think I'm gonna reread it this November because I haven't read it in almost a year and a half. I think a lot of these books I really want to read more Stephen King, but a lot of these books I really want to reread. I think I'm gonna put it top of the tower. Just personally, this was a great. I don't think not one page was wasted. I don't think it needed any more pages. I think it was a perfect story, and the only thing I would change is those pages of the book that Paul Sheldon writes. If you don't know, there's the main character Paul Sheldon. He's being held captive, and the villain in the story is making him write a story. And Stephen King writes the story that Paul Sheldon is writing. So there's like 30, I think, or 40 pages of the story. And I just thought that was really not necessary. It had nothing to do with the plot. And even though I kind of remember the story that he's writing, I don't think it was really necessary, honestly. So that'd be the only thing I'd change. But other than that, I love the story. It's a great one. I think now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'd probably put Salem's Lot and Shining up here. Again, these all could change. Obviously, many people don't like The Gunslinger, but I remember really enjoying it, so I'm just gonna go off what I remember. Yeah, I think that's good. Next is The Eyes of the Dragon, a nice kind of YA fantasy kind of story, in a small medieval kind of town, with a family, and yeah, it's enjoyable. I liked it. I went on a road trip and read it, so it's quite good. Just not much to say about it. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst, it was just decent. Drawing of the Three, I love this. It was amazing. I wouldn't top of the tower. I'd probably actually put Pet Sematary down. Let me just do that. Yeah, I think that's good. Many people would put Pet Sematary at the very top, but obviously I didn't really resonate with the book that much. It was amazing. It was an amazing book, don't get me wrong. But I just thought it doesn't really deserve that spot at the moment. And Drawing the Three, I think this was an amazing, enjoyable... I just have so many great memories reading this book. I thought it was an amazing story, and I love The Gunslinger, but this one just stepped it up so much. The Wastelands. I don't think I enjoy this as much as Drawing the Three. I think I'd probably put it here. It's probably above The Gunslinger. Insomnia, probably put it down here. It was good. I read The Dark Tower before it, so not the whole Dark Tower, but I read half of The Dark Tower, so it's way better reading Dark Tower before. I think it's useless, honestly, if you read it before reading Dark Tower, because it just means nothing and it's a waste of time. But if you read it after Dark Tower, I think it has importance and it's meaningful to the Dark Tower universe. Next is The Green Mile. This one I read and I thought it was good. I think it's my favorite, probably top 3 Stephen King. Top 3 would probably be Misery, Salem's Lot and Shining are tied probably, and then Green Mile would probably be first or second. Drawing the Three is pretty close after. And next is Wizard and Glass, the fourth book in the Dark Tower series. I'd probably put this. When I read it, I thought it'd be I thought it'd be my favorite. But now that I think about it, it was good. It was, again, not the best, not the worst. I'm not purposely making this kind of box, but I guess it just happened. Wolves of the Kala. I really don't like it. I'd probably put Song Susanna down here too. If you saw my Dark Tower review, I put these two at the bottom. I didn't really like them that much. I'd probably also, while I'm doing it, Gwendy's Button Box. I didn't really like it. And while I'm at it, I'll probably do Billy Summers down there. Yeah, I really didn't like all these four books. Wolves of Kala and Song Susanna, especially Song Susanna, wasn't that bad, but Wolves of Kala I just found it was just a lot of wasted pages. I thought it could have been cut down a lot. In the Dark Tower, the last book in the Dark Tower series, and the most, I was gonna say the most recent, but Billy Summers was. The Dark Tower probably put right, so it wasn't the best of the series. It was enjoyable ending. I liked the ending. And I'd probably put it, bottom of Not Overlooked, or in the middle. So yeah, right there. I think that's good. I don't think I have any books in misery, really. Even these, none of these are really misery. All these are really good books. If I had to put one book in misery, I'd probably put Billy Summers or Gwendy's Button Box. Gwendy's Button Box is a really short kind of novella story, and it's quite good, honestly. It's not bad. It's just a quick read, and it's a nice little story that takes place in Castle Rock, I think. These are the 20 Stephen King books I've read so far. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.